No, no. No, no. Blame OBS for a lot of things. This is the fault of Streamlabs chatbot, which insists on needing to beep every time a WebSocket. Actually, no, that is OBS's fault. Because that's OBS that does that. Fuck OBS. It's both of them. It's both of them. Sorry for the slight delay, but I needed to fix that picture because it was bothering me because it didn't really have much of anything going on. How's everybody doing? Hope your week has started off well. Last time we ended with Iris telling us some gigantic lies. Also, you might notice the camera's oriented a little differently, trying something a little different. From what I understand, what I've seen, obviously, you know, 100% accurate YouTube video research. Keeping one's chin up helps to keep one's energy up, as opposed to if they're down. So I have lowered my chair to the lowest point, which means I had to reorient the camera to face more downward, which I think will give you a better view of the dog, too. An extra bonus to that. So, there's that. Mir's showing off his German, I think. Sad music as well, indeed, because we don't like when Iris lies to us. Not big fans of that, to be quite honest. There's been a meme going around in a certain area of sports entertainment about your daddy, so seeing that immediately as one of the prompts is like, oh, that's not what they mean. Would you like to tell us about it, Iris? About your father? I'm sure I told you before, didn't I? That Daddy used to be Hurley's partner. Yes, and that notes all about the cases they solved together are kept... Wait, and that notes all about the cases... I can speak, I swear. And that notes about all the cases they solved together are kept inside that metal chest.
That's right. Hurley told me, you see. He said that Daddy's somewhere far away now, so we can't meet.
That's one way of describing it.
Then when I secretly unlocked the chest and read through the papers inside, I started to build up a picture in my head of what Daddy must be like.
Well, that's only natural. You're just like any other girl of your age. Now, put those away and let's not talk about this ever again.
I read that Daddy was a professor of medical science, so I studied and took my degree too.
Well, that's only natural, I suppose. In that respect, you're not quite like any other girl of your age, though.
But there was one thing that I could never find out. Daddy's name.
Ah!
His name wasn't anywhere on any of the notes that he'd made about his work with Hurley. But then one day...
That's what happened, is it? When you saw this autopsy report, you finally managed to work it out, is that right?
Yes!
So it was the handwriting in the report that caught her eye.
When I saw the writing in that report, I could hardly believe it. I know that handwriting, I thought to myself.
Because it was the same as the writing you'd seen on your father's case notes?
Exactly! I was so desperate to compare the two properly, I needed to see them side by side. I asked the doctor in the laboratory, but I was told I couldn't take the report away. And even worse, I was told that was the first and last time we'd be allowed to even look at it there.
You decided to steal it.
When I compared the autopsy report with the case notes I had here, there was no doubt. The handwriting was exactly the same. It was Daddy's.
And the signature of the coroner at the bottom of the autopsy report read Dr. John H. Wilson.
That's how I finally found out. I learned Daddy's name at last.
I see.
Ever since then, I've called myself Iris Wilson. That's also when I had the brilliant idea of writing stories all about Daddy's exciting times with Hurley. I decided there and then that I'd write the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes.
Oh, Iris, I had no idea the stories had quite such a deep personal significance to you. She wrote stories about her dad's adventures with her surrogate dad. And you don't think that the stories had much significance to her? Are you fucking kidding me? I can see why the autopsy report was so important to her now, and why she was prepared to break the law to get her hands on it. I must apologize, Iris. This is really all my fault.
Really?
I made a promise, you see, that until the time was right, I'd keep the details about your father a secret.
I know. I've been very naughty. I'll take the autopsy report back to Dr. Gorey and apologize, I promise.
Oh, that's not gonna save you from prison, but whatever. Yes, we'll go together, I think. I don't know. I don't think children got away with things back at this time for doing stuff like that. So, like, but let's say it happened now. Generally, yes, minors are treated with, are punished significantly less than adults for similar crimes, unless it's something like murder, in which case they can be tried as adults. Violent crimes, that can happen. This wasn't a violent crime, obviously, so this would be almost certainly tried in juvenile court, except The issue with this is that this is a state secret. Right? That's the whole thing behind why this is so significant, is it's all a state secret or whatever. So I don't know. I honestly don't know how that would change things. They might simply decide to not punish her at all because they want to keep things quiet. They don't want people to ever know that a child was able to come in and steal something so important.
And let me look after it for you until we get there. I must go water my herbs, I think. I'll see you all later.
Poor Iris, she must be feeling awful. I know Mr. Sholmes is here for her, but still.
Ah! What? How? What's the meaning of this, Mr. Sholmes?
Mr. Sholmes? Oh, dear me. So, you've noticed, I see.
What? That would mean...
What on earth's the matter, Mr. Saddle? You've turned as white as a sheet.
This autopsy report, It's this autopsy report, Mr. Naruhodo, the one from 10 years ago. The writing isn't Dr. Wilson's at all.
Huh? What do you mean? How could you possibly know that?
Because I know this writing very well.
It's her father's?
This writing, it's my father's.
What? Indeed, it's true. And now you know, my dear fellows. No, I don't know anything. What on earth does all this mean, Mr. Sholmes? Yeah, for real. The idea that's slowly forming in my mind is just too extraordinary to believe. Wait. Okay, I'll wait till the reveal, but like, just in case I'm wrong, but something about that wouldn't really add up. Please, you have to explain. So, this autopsy report was actually penned by Professor Mikotoba then? That makes no sense. It's not possible, surely. Not possible? My dear fellow, pray, take a deep breath and think again.
Yes, you're right. In some ways, it actually makes a great deal of sense.
It does?
10 years ago is when Father returned to Japan after his extended study tour in Britain.
Prior to his return, where was Dr. Mikotoba engaged? Of course. He was an assistant in Dr. Wilson's laboratory, learning about forensic science. And as an assistant, he would have aided with the dissection work, making detailed notes, which would be assembled into the full autopsy report. The coroner was planning to give it to us. That doesn't mean that it wasn't a crime to take it in the first place. First of all, because she wasn't the coroner at the time it was taken. Scythe was. That also would imply that because the coroner would give it to us means that it was okay for her to do that, which isn't necessarily the case either. So you can't really glean too much from Gora, whatever her name was, her intended actions. Once the work was complete, the head coroner would check the contents and put a signature on the document.
In other words, the only writing of Dr. Wilson's in the report would be his signature at the end.
I see. Iris got the wrong end of the stick, you mean? She saw that and assumed the whole report had been written by Dr. John H. Wilson? Which is very understandable, of course. What a complicated situation. Thinking about it, most of what we know about you, Mr. Sholmes, comes from the published stories of your exploits. Yes, The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, written by Iris. And we really have no way of knowing what's fact and what's fiction. Most troubling for you, my dear fellow, I'm sure. That sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. So what about this supposed partner of yours? Did he really exist or not? Ah! You've come straight to the point, I see. Please come straight to the answer. Answer! I believe Iris explained it in one of her installments. He was a trusted comrade and the only person I could truly have called a friend. Did this partner of yours truly make a record of all your cases? Are his notes really stored inside that metal chest? Absolutely, my dear madam. Absolutely. So, where's your partner now? We rarely meet. You see, he lives on the other side of the world. But if this autopsy report and the records of all your old cases were penned by the same hand, if the autopsy report was written, though not by sign, by your famous partner, there would be only one logical conclusion. Pray impress me. Your partner would have to be Eugene Mikotoba. In other words, Miss Susato's father. Upon my word, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? You are coming along wonderfully. You have hit upon the method at last. Leaks his cell phone to Van Zeeks. We have not. Thank you for the $4.99, Keith. You finally grasped the art of deduction. You mean to say? Allow me to introduce you. What a perfect time for that fucking alert to come along. To my great friend and partner, Mikotoba. Okay, then. The issue is we still don't know if this is actually Iris's father. Right? Because Wilson could still be her father. It's just that her father was never actually shown as partner. Because the issue here is that if it's not Wilson who's Iris's father, and it's instead Mikotoba, which would make her Susato's what, sister, half-sister, whatever? Or even potentially Asogi. She would not look English. So, I'm assuming this is going to get explained, but that is what confuses me. Though, I honestly don't remember what Iris bases her assumption of who her father is on. If it's just Sholmes telling her that it's the person that was his partner, then that's not necessarily the truth. He didn't tell fucking her the truth about anything. Oh God, Max. Jesus Christ. Professor Mikotoba. Does this mean that you're the real Dr. Wilson? No, my dear. I'm still my old self, Eugene Mikotoba, your father. Oh, of course. This is obviously too much for Susato-san to take in. I must say, though, How my old friend has attained worldwide celebrity as a great mystery solver is the greatest mystery of all. I still remember the first day we met. Pray remind me, when was it again, Mikotoba? 16 years ago, Sholmes. Ah yes, quite, 16 years ago. I had just arrived from Japan with Seishiro and Genji. I was in search of lodgings close to the hospital, some comfortable rooms at a reasonable price. But rents are devilishly high in that particular area. That's right. So I decided I needed someone to share lodgings and the expense, and was fortunate enough to be introduced to Sholmes, who found himself in a similar situation. I was a callow fellow back then, a mere shadow of the great detective you see before you now. I was working at the hospital's chemical laboratory at the time, indulging my curiosities for a little game. The situation of our cohabitation led us to pursuing cases together, you see. Hard to believe, it was a mere 6 years. We had a great many adventures. But in the last year of Mikotoba's stay in Britain, that most infamous of cases presented itself. The case with which you've become rather familiar with yourselves, the Professor killings. After the trial, Seishiro and I were summoned back home. Hardly surprising given the circumstances. So there you have it. And as you know, all the details recorded by my trusty chronicler remain in that metal chest. That is just amazing. Professor Mikotoba really is Mr. Sholmes' famous partner. You son of a bitch liar, father! Father? Goodness, my dear, what a cutting look. As your daughter, I'm very proud to learn that you are the great detective's great partner. But nevertheless, there's another mystery that I really must ask you to explain now. And that is? You know very well what it is. The unresolved matter of Iris's father. Ah, of course, I'd almost forgotten about that one. I should have seen this coming, I suppose. Of course you should have, you... Oh my god, you twit! Oop. Iris told us that all the notes about the great detective's adventures that are in the metal chest were written by her father. Isn't that correct, Mr. Sholmes? That is indeed what I told young Iris. But if you're Mr. Sholmes' partner, father, and you wrote all those case notes, then Iris's father must be you. Ah ha ha, ha ha ha. Upon my word, Mrs. Sato, you are coming along wonderfully as well. You too have hit upon the method at last. You finally grasped the art of deduction. What? What? What you've always told me, father, is that my mother died when I was born 16 years ago, and you left me in grandmother's care while you embarked on your study tour of Britain, and I've always accepted that. But all this about Iris... Oh, there it is, Susato-san's ice-cold stare! No, now hold on a minute. It's very complicated. I mean, it's really not what you think. Then perhaps you'd like to explain exactly what it is! There it is! Her eyes go from ice cold to red hot just before she... No, really? You got over a rugged and stick. Show him, say something, man! That's quite enough, my fiery fellows. I keep saying... That's quite enough, my fiery fellows. Mr. Sholmes, when did he get all dressed up? Unless I don't like to interrupt this exciting exploration of the past, Mikotoba and I have an urgent matter that requires a short excursion. But it's very late, Mr. Sholmes. Don't you fucking ignore... You... Ooh! I'm filled with such white, hot rage. Where must you go? Why, my dear madam? Is that not obvious? My partner and I must pursue our natural enemies. So, get your coat, Mikotoba. The game is afoot. But Sholmes, Really must give Susanoo a full explanation, I think. Yes! Yes, you should! Later, my dear fellow, later. Our carriage awaits downstairs already. Motherfucker, you are a grown-ass goddamn man. You can tell him to keep his fucking hat on. But no, he won't. Instead, he's just like, oh, you. Oh, you. You haven't changed one iota, have you? I mean, really. I visit our... If I'm Susanoo, I'm like, shut the fuck up right now and answer my goddamn question. I mean, really, I visit our home after 10 long years, and I open that chest in a fit of nostalgia. I quite inexplicably passed out. And as if that wasn't enough, I eventually regained consciousness. I plunged straight into all this. Father, please, go with Mr. Sholmes now. I'll kill you later. What? No doubt that whatever happened, you were acting in everyone's best interests. I trust you completely. Shit, I fucking wouldn't. When you inseminated some random woman, I'm sure it was in everyone's best interest, including our mother. Our dead mother. Dishonored. And then subsequently left her here. Just like you left me in Japan. That makes you doubly terrible. Your free trial of living. Oh, if you want to continue, you must buy WinRAR. Susanoo. Sending the great detective and his great partner off on renewed adventures together is more than I could have hoped for in my wildest dreams. Very well then, we'll speak again later. So, I believe your own work is done for the day. I wish you the best of luck for tomorrow. Yes, Naruhodo, good luck in battle. And in reaching a decision. A decision? About whether to go back to Japan, I suppose?
So much happened that day that I barely knew what to do with myself.
Susanoo whispered to me later, "Oh, I didn't mean a word of that. I just don't want him to see his death coming."
It would only be later that I'd come to realize how amidst the chaos I'd unleashed were all the clues I needed to finally unearth the truth, and that all the turmoil was necessary to give me the resolve to see everything through.
That's the name of the game! What? What the fuck do you mean, end? That's not the end! I won! I won chapter 4! That's just it? Game's over. I know there's a 5th chapter, but could you fucking imagine the game actually ending right there? I understand. I understand why. They wanted to break up a very, 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 very long case. I understand that. I do. I would have kept it all in one chapter. Personally. Because this is really weird. The game lets you know. The franchise has never done that before. The game even's like, yeah, we're not done yet. And then it's like, end. Okay. One thing that does please me, though, is I had no idea. I'm like, God, when are we gonna end chapter 4? Chapter 4's fucking long. But then where do you go after this part? Like, this feels like the climax. Where could this story possibly go for a chapter 5 that isn't this series of events right here? So, in that respect, I am pleased. The fuck is... Oh. So, the time's finally come. Today, we unravel everything. He didn't. It would be another day. Well, it can't be another Sholmes story. We're already told the story at the beginning of chapter 4. Although, it would have been a nice twist to, like, talk about what they were doing last night. Or, like, just a very brief, like, and so, I met up with my old partner again. Blah, blah, blah. Like, it doesn't even have to be anything substantial, but that would have been a little cute, you know. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. I'll be counting on your support more than ever today, Miss Susato. Damn, this is a face right here. I'm not used to seeing her look like that. Miss Susato? Ah! Die! Oh no, what's the matter, Miss Naruhodo? Why are you on the ground? Nothing. I was just saying that I'll be relying on your support today, but,
I'm so sorry, of course. I know I can be rather incompetent at times, but I so very much want to murder my father, and I haven't had the chance yet. I shan't let you down.
Would you mind helping me to my feet then?
Oh dear, I'm really very sorry.
Susato-san isn't her usual self at all. That's hardly surprising, I suppose. Just found out that her father is the partner of a world-famous detective, not to mention... They can't be sisters. Or, I suppose they can, but how? Again, she would not look English. That's not how genetics work. That is not how genetics work. Well, okay, fine. It would be very, very, very unlikely. Like, almost unbelievably unlikely. In which case, would you have thought to yourself, like, huh? Iris kind of has a Japanese look to her. Well, she knows John H. Wilson isn't Japanese. So must John H. Wilson's wife and her mother have been Japanese? Because if not, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. Yeah, it's what you pick up the accent. Totally. That makes sense. But yeah, the entire physical look, that's a different story. Yeah, that little oversight is kind of unbelievable. Not that it's like a huge deal in the grand scheme of things, but like in reality, this would not have played out the same way. At this point in time. Now, completely different story. That could very much have happened and we wouldn't really know. Might take note of it, but we wouldn't necessarily assume. There are many more East Asian individuals that live in London now than there did at this point in time. But at this point in time, We're talking, especially since we're talking about a city of like 30 people based on the random jury pool that we get every fucking case. Good morning, sir. Lord Van Zeeks! You all look like you're going to kill somebody. Thank you for all your efforts yesterday. What? Did I hear that correctly? What? No, nothing. Just, hope we can clear things up today. Really can't make this man out. His face says, I hate you. But his words say, I hate you. But his words are almost jovial today. In fact, he hasn't been very Reaper-like at all since this all began yesterday. Because he's not the goddamn Reaper! Lord Van Zeeks isn't the Reaper, Mr. Naruhodo. I can read your stupid thoughts right on your face. Good point. The Reaper, I suppose in hindsight. So wait, so seriously, was he saying all that stuff about Van Zeeks out loud in front of him, referring to him in the third person? Holy shit, that'd be rude. I shouldn't have allowed that misconception to go unchallenged. Huh? It was my tacit acceptance of that pseudonym. My failure to stop the Reaper becoming something more than a mere legend that led to all this. But you're not to blame for that, Lord Van Zeeks. It's only because serious crime in the capital dropped off so sharply when the public started calling you that. That's why you didn't say anything, isn't it? To be frank, I'm not sure that was the sole reason. What do you mean? There was a rumor at the time that the Reaper was really the ghost of my late brother. And having been slain by that evil killer, Clint's restless spirit returned as some sort of demigod to wield a deadly blade of justice where I, by dint of the law, could not. Yes, we've heard that story too. But I lost him. His eyes say, I abhor you. A little different, a slight distinction. What's stronger, hate or abhor? Abhor sounds stronger, but I'm not actually sure if that's... Is abhor like intense hatred? I felt as though I'd lost my guiding lights. I didn't know where to go or what to do. And so, in some small way, I wonder if perhaps these rumors made me feel his absence a little less keenly. He was always there to kill the person that I couldn't get. We were like Jordan and Pippin. Even if I knew it was just an illusion, just some nonsense conjured up by an over-imaginative public. He was obviously extremely important to you, Lord Clint Van Zeeks. Well, what's important now is uncovering the truth. That's all that matters. I know that you didn't take anyone's life. And I intend to prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt in court today. I never thought I'd say this, but I can see it in your eyes, that burning desire to cut through all the lies and bullshit. I can't deny it any longer. You are a lawyer of absolute integrity. Thank you. That's very nice of you to say. Now tell me, why do I detect the scent of expensive tea leaves in the air? Oh, Iris, when did you get here? Oh!
I brought you one of my special blends. Hurley loves it. He says it helps him to clear his head. It's filled with something, some powder that I buy at times called Coke. Tiny. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but wow, it gives him all the energy in the world. I've renamed it G Fuel. Oh,
That's surely the first and last time I'll ever see a sight like this. You seem different today, Iris.
oh,
Sort of subdued, I suppose.
I am not.
Happened yesterday is obviously still playing on her mind a lot.
Of course it fucking is. Stop talking out loud.
She's very clearly troubled about having stolen that autopsy report from Dr. Seth's laboratory. Yo, what's up, View? I've actually wanted to keep forgetting to message you. You're playing that new fighting game, right? The one from Arc System? Somebody was talking about that last week, and that game sounds super interesting. Yeah, DNF. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I know. I know. I haven't seen any of the streams, but I've seen the thumbnail, so I know you're playing it. I was curious to get your opinion on it.
Alright then, good luck to you both. I have to make a move now. Oh, you're not staying?
Thought you'd want to watch today's proceedings.
Well, I'd like to cheer you on, obviously. I've got lots to get ready.
Get ready for what?
Oh, yes. Would you take this?
Isn't that one of the little felt dolls that's usually dangling from your knapsack?
Yes, it's a lucky charm, a little Hurley that I made once.
A Hurley? Looks more like a Hairly. So yeah, I've never played that game, but I heard it was an MMO. Ah, no balance. So, wait, is it unbalanced in a way where it's like a patch ain't gonna help this sort of thing? Or is it unbalanced like multiverses where like they could implement some nerfs and buffs and stuff to make it a little better? Everyone is broken, so everyone is balanced. Oh Lord. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that idea. The idea, but I'm still interested in giving it a shot because it could be executed better than, you know, other attempts at that. So just everyone's fucking. It's always a really interesting concept. I don't think it's executed very well most of the time, but I'll still give it a shot because it always intrigues me to see something like that done right. Smash 4 Bayo and Brawl Meta Knight. There we go. There we go. They're just all Bayos and all metas. Hey, man! Nah! Fuck that shit.
Let's get it, let's go!
Wait, finale of the game? I mean, Chapter 5 is gonna be one stream? But yeah, anyways, I was saying, don't feel bad about playing a really good character. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I hate the idea like that you can't play a really good character because they're really good. I'm always, and it make people feel guilty about it. Like, fuck that, man. Embrace it. Fuck that. Fuck them. I am really energetic today. Yeah, that's not something I don't think I'd ever want to play competitively, but it sounds like it'd be fun. I've never played a fighting game competitively yet. I wanted to do it with Street Fighter V, I just have not had the time I thought I would. Oh, last chapter. Okay, that makes more sense. Because that would have been shocking. Shocking. Also, thank you for the 21 months, Trep. Also, for those that weren't here, because it was a member stream, so the audience was a lot smaller, remember to be able, when you're on desktop, to enable accepting gift memberships. I gave out a 5-pack on Saturday, and only 2 out of the 5 people, the viewers, that got those were people that I actually recognized. It's because I don't think most people have it enabled. And it's possible that they're lurkers and they're here all the time. I don't know. But that's entirely possible. I just want to make sure that whoever's here most often has a chance to get that. Yeah, and it's definitely better to try it on here because it's not, I won't say that it's oversaturated on Twitch, but it is, like you say, it's more established. So I'm sure it would be a lot more difficult to try to, like, push it there. Yeah, I like going back and watching some of your streams like you're practicing, because that's something that I've never personally done before. Outside of when I started playing Smash a little more seriously, I did it a little bit. But it's interesting to watch like other people practice to see how, like, how should I improve? This is what they're practicing. I should practice stuff like that. Are you on desktop? You can only do it on desktop. You can't do it on mobile. I'm gonna make a video on it too. In fact, I planned on doing that today. Actually, yeah, instead of me going through it right now, I'm gonna make that video and then I'll post it and I'll share it. Just for people that are unaware. God, I really wish that they could make it so that you didn't have to get fucking 5 at a time or more. Just let people give 1. What's the problem with that? I don't want to make money. I'm YouTubing. I don't want to make as much money as possible for some reason. Anyways.
If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial today, then just pull this little Hurley's ears, and as hard as you possibly can.
What? Pull his ears?
That's right, it's a way to bring good luck. I think you might need it. You're kind of fucked. You think what we'll need is luck? I just sneaked a peek inside the courtroom, and it seems very different to normal.
Yes, it would seem that a certain someone has decided to pull out all the stops. What does that mean?
What about Mr. Sholmes, Iris? I don't know. He was out all night and he hadn't come home by the time I left this morning.
Yeah, thanks, View. Although, unfortunately, I'm now in this situation I always was like, no. What's my monthly schedule? All this. And I would really like to play other games, but I'm also at the point where I'm like, I need to get through this. I can't interrupt this because I don't want to interrupt it. But I also would really like to say, speedrun Mega Man 11. That would be nice. So it's this weird, not that it's bad, but it's this weird, like, internal struggle that I deal with. That's okay. Once this is done, I can take a month and do whatever. And then, I don't remember who I keep forgetting who recommended I play Little Nightmares, but that shit was free on PSN this month. So I didn't have to pay for it. So we're definitely playing that, and then the second Notary game in October. I am making a very annoying. Thank you all for being such a great audience. I'll be here all week. Luck of the Iris. I specifically said October would be like horror month. I don't really consider Hollow Knight to be like horror. It kind of has like a horror aesthetic, but it's not particularly like, I don't know. Not like the other two games. Luck of the IRS. They make their own luck. Oh, I see. Was Professor Mikotoba out all night too, do you think, Mr. Sato?
Yes, it would seem so. I telegrammed the hotel this morning. Apparently, they didn't come back to their rooms last night at all.
Revelations co-op? Hey, I'd be down for that. I've never actually done Resident Evil co-op with anyone before. I've always had to use the really bad AI partners. And I'm just like, why do this to myself? I need friends. Or friends that also play the same games. No, just generally friends. Oh, good. It'll be good that you're experienced, because I will be no good. I didn't even finish 6, because I'm just like... 5 I got through fine enough. But, ooh. Got to 6 and I was like, They?
Father and Judge Jigoku, I mean.
Judge Jigoku 2?
That's right. Nobody appears to have seen either of them since yesterday.
Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court is about to be in session. Please make your way inside the courtroom at once.
Good luck then, Runo. Good luck, Susie.
Yes, thanks, Iris.
And you, Mr. Reaper. Hope it all goes well.
Once again, I thank you for the delicious tea. It was very soothing.
Oh, I'm so glad. We must go inside now, Lord Van Zeeks.
Yeah, no shit. I've done this before. Wish I could time you out, CJ, if I knew it'd do anything. But it wouldn't. It'd just be back in another 5 minutes like, troll smile, troll smile. Lord Van Zeeks has always been the formidable prosecutor I've had to lock horns with in court. But not today. Today I battle with another in pursuit of the truth. My best friend, Kazuma Asogi, who I trust more than anyone else in the world. Now I understand what it was that drew me here to Britain all those months ago. Now I know exactly what destiny had in store for me. It's all been leading up to this one day, to this one trial, to this one final none of this fucking matters. It's all worthless fluff. I don't care. It's just, people don't fucking think like that when they go into the fucking courtroom. It's just, I know why it's done. I know why it's done. And I think it might have been Danganronpa that like really turned me off of the idea of, we're about to go into something. Now I need to talk about this, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, dude, you're just repeating basically the same thing you've always had in different words. And I don't think that to myself when I go into a goddamn courtroom. I'm just focused. Oh, shit. Counsel, you will dress yourself appropriately before entering my courtroom. Yes, sir. My apologies, sir. Let me just go to the dressing room real quick. Wait! Oh, he has the sword either way. Okay. I was gonna say, I don't have the damn sword, but I guess they probably changed that, right? Which, like, it's one thing in social situations, it might seem kind of awkward, but that sort of thing kind of happens every once in a while. When that does not happen is in the heat of battle or during intense sporting competitions. I guarantee you, I have never once playing baseball or basketball had 15 seconds to think about whatever was going on. Although, that played out really fun in a really funny way in a really old... Is it a Pepsi commercial? Where they're playing on, Ken Griffey Jr. was batting as a former pro baseball player, one of the greatest of all time. The pitcher threw the ball to him, and the whole thing was like, he started thinking to himself, and like the ball was moving slow, and the whole idea is like, man, he's so good that the time just moves, the game just moves so slowly for him. And he sees Sammy Sosa in the dugout drinking his Pepsi, and he's like, is that Sammy Sosa drinking my Pepsi? Sammy. And he like intentionally manages to hit the ball like right next to Sammy Sosa in the dugout to get him to drop his drink. And then he's like, it's like, dude, that would fucking happen. But hilarious. All the same. Freezer! Yep. Well, I mean, they can't prove that he assaulted him. Just because you hit a foul ball into a crowd and it hits a person in the face doesn't mean the player assaulted someone. Team might get sued, depending on the state and what their negligence laws say. Feels even more oppressive here than it did yesterday. Their cold stares piercing me like knives from all sides today. Dude, that's just when you gotta walk in like, haters gonna hate! Ah! Mr. Naruto, look! I'm sorry. I must have forgotten when one of the parties moved for a recusal of our original judge. Because that's the only fucking reason that would be allowed to happen right now. This is bullshit. We are now, if we weren't before, we are now in kangaroo court territory. Just to answer this question before it's even... No! This doesn't happen! You can't just go mid-trial and be like, get out, I'm gonna be the judge for the rest of this. No, you can't do that! That's ridiculous! Of course, I don't think you have to be a lawyer to know that that's probably the case. Lord Strongheart! Cosmo must have known beforehand. Also bullshit that we received no notice of this. The ramifications of this trial now extend far beyond the murder of one Scotland Yard inspector. In fact, events have come to light that threaten to rock the very foundations of our country's legal system. The escape of a condemned criminal on the night of his execution, the subsequent unlawful shooting of the man, and the revelation that prison staff must have been complicit in the jailbreak. Britain is currently hosting influential members of the judiciary from countries all around the world. They're not, like... They're not super easy games. Like, I know a lot of times, like, even I'll have it happen too sometimes, where it's like, how did I not see that? But, like, it's because it's a game that's very good at making things seem a certain way in hindsight. But as we all know, it's really easy to be capped in hindsight. Who's never wrong, right? But, like, I think this game, like, the way it sets things up, like, particularly plays at that feeling. Even though it's, like, not always actually reasonable to, like, beat yourself up about it. It is imperative that we uncover the truth in these proceedings to avoid international embarrassment. By royal decree, this will continue to be a closed trial. Well, can you at least take your top coat off? And one over which I, male Strongheart, exercise total and unequivocal authority. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty badass. The 6 jurors' flames just... No, seriously, don't start talking. Why did that happen? Are you a magician? As was the case in yesterday's proceedings, those here present in the public gallery are distinguished members of our judiciary assembled to bear witness to a fair judicial process. In other words, a collection of your acolytes, Lord Strongheart. Shut your fucking mouth! Oh god, this is why the defendant needs to be right next to you instead of their own box, so that you can kick them very hard in the shin if they start saying dumb shit like this. Yo, what's up, man? I'm sorry, did you say something to the person that has your future in his hands? Might not have been the smartest thing you've ever done. On a personal note, I find this most distressing, Lord Van Zeeks. You are a prosecutor of exceptional talent. Much like your brother Clint, in fact. Dude, you are gonna destroy the wood on that desk. If you're gonna use that pointy-ass fucking unicorn stick. Okay, guilty, yep. Alright, fine, guilty. It's damaging. If I were the judge, the old judge, and this is my courtroom, because, like, judges generally have their courtroom, right? They might change courtrooms depending on the rotation, but that generally doesn't happen. They have their own courtroom with their own chambers so they can get comfortable with it. So if I'm that other judge and he keeps banging on my desk like that and I'm in the gallery every time, I'm like, oh, please, no. Please, Lord Strongheart, I beg of you. Don't, my desk. Oh! Who owns the courtroom? Is it the... I'm actually not entirely sure if it's the state or the county. Or whichever municipality has, like, jurisdiction over the courthouse. I would think the county, but I'm not 100% sure on that, to be completely honest. That could also depend on the jurisdiction. But no, the judge doesn't pay to rent the courtroom or anything like a barber chair. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session for the trial of Beric van Zeeks, who officially stands accused of murder. Also, judges don't stand up and do this. That doesn't happen. Counsels for the prosecution and defense, are you in full readiness to proceed? The defense is ready, my lord. As is the prosecution. Yesterday's proceedings brought to light a shocking and disturbing fact. There was a side to the victim, Inspector Tobias Gregson, that was unknown to his superiors at Scotland Yard. T-pose power. I suppose he is, stunting on us. Yes, he was carrying out operations in secret, which Scotland Yard knew nothing about. And in those clandestine operations, he had an accomplice, Mr. Daily Vigil, who would be given the inspector's identification and present himself around the capital in order to establish credible alibis for Gregson. In that way, Gregson appeared to be carrying out his regular Scotland Yard work when in fact he wasn't. At the end of yesterday's session, Mr. Vigil, who had been suffering from amnesia, regained his memory, quite conveniently. It would appear he buried his memories of the time deep inside himself as a means of self-preservation. Because whilst he was engaged as chief warder at Barclay Prison, he abetted the convict's escape. Mr. Vigil is currently recuperating at St. Sinners. He's recovered enough to give a signed statement about his movements on the day prior to the incident. Ah, but is it notarized? There's a big difference between a signed statement and a signed affidavit. Okay. One's taken under oath and one is not. You know, thinking about it now, he is asserting his dominance, but like, it is certainly little dick energy assertion. Because every judge I've ever been in front of, you better believe they've been able to assert their dominance by just sitting there. They don't gotta stand up and be like, ah! Well, just focus on, hey man, focus on whatever you enjoy the most. If it's the music, then you enjoy the music. God. He should be scary enough just sitting there looking at you. If he's not, then fucking get good, bruh. He's recovered enough to give it. Yeah, it's a. He's formally admitted to posing as Gregson whilst investigating the Red-Headed League. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a shrimmer. Do not allow yourself to be taken in by thoughts of sounding awkward. Although you are in that case, it's like you're making it seem like the music is another person. Twibbin? Is Twain B? Which brings us to the crucial issue of the victim's time of death. The defense yesterday proposed a suggestion that the victim may have been killed 1 day earlier. That this was based largely on the discovery that the victim's pocket watch had not been wound. The prosecution has something to report on that subject, my lord. Really? Go ahead, Prosecutor Asogi. I met once again with the coroner yesterday to discuss the issue. She confirmed that the defense's suggestion could not be ruled out. We already knew that. It's entirely possible that Inspector Gregson was killed on 31st October, the day before his body was discovered. I have here an updated autopsy report, but one beneficial to the defense that includes the amended details. But the official opinion of the investigation team was made clear yesterday that the time of death was 5 p.m. on 1st November. There are indications of an attempt to disguise the real time of death, however. It seems that the natural decaying process of the victim's body may have been slowed by keeping it chilled. That's out of the question. There are no refrigeration devices in that part of London large enough to accommodate a human corpse. My lord, this is more than just conjecture. There's evidence to support the idea. We must investigate it thoroughly. Very well. The court will accept the new report as evidence. However, if this updated report is deemed to be accurate, it would give renewed significance to the movements of the victim on the day before the Fresno Street incident. It would, yes, especially since on that day, Inspector Gregson was using Mr. Vigil to cover up his real movements. It's conceivable that he was killed in the course of his secret activities. Do I sense that the prosecution has some information regarding those activities? Scotland Yard put an enormous effort into investigating that precise matter yesterday. I think we should begin by presenting the results of that investigation work. But the prosecution calls its first witness now. Gina?
Gina! Sup, Odo?
State your name and occupation for the court.
Inspector Gina Lestraw reporting. Representative of Scotland Yard.
A self-conferred rank, but never mind. Gina, again?
What's your problem, Odo? What's with that Gina again? Look, eh?
Ah!
The boss meant the world to me. He done more for me than anyone else ever did.
Oh, Inspector Gregson, you mean?
Got me out of the back slums of the East End and took me under his wing. Taught me that life can have a purpose. So that's why I'm the best person to be standing here speaking for him. Oh, Gina.
Right. All out of the goodness of Gregson's heart. Not at all that he had his arm twisted by Mr. Sholmes. No.
Well, I don't think it's that Gina's being insolent towards Naruhodo. Because, like, that would only be the case if she's, like, intentionally trying to fuck him over, right?
What's relevant to these proceedings is that the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations yesterday has revealed that the victim was carrying out some assignment the police knew nothing about.
Although, if I'm Scotland Yard, there is no chance in hell I'm letting Gina be our representative in this case. Holy shit, no. This is like if the police had conducted this thorough investigation on one of its officers and they had to present the testimony in court and they're like, hey, intern, you go do it.
That'd be terrible. You would never do that. Yes, it could taint her testimony, the bias. But it's interesting. It's interesting in that we're not exactly sure which way the bias would lean at this point. We know there's going to be a bias, but we don't know how. As revealed that the victim was carrying out some... Yep. Very troubling. That face. Lord Strongheart knew. Very troubling. I knew nothing about that, obviously. So, Inspector Lestrade, let's hear exactly what it says in that report. Come right up, sir.
All your detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told. But a little search of the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secret meetings in it. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day. Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers went on to it yet. What matters most is, there's witnesses what saw the Reaper at the place too.
Smuggled goods?
I don't know, do I? I'm just telling you what was written in the book.
Tobacco, tea, spices, medicines. Sounds like a good time to me. Goods of all sorts flowing into London by illegal channels from across the globe. It's well known that they're disposed of at regular black markets that take place in the capital. Yeah, man, that fucking black market tea trade. I know that was I 100% understand that was possibly a thing. And could possibly still be a thing. Now it would be ridiculous, though. But the police are rarely able to locate them in time. So Inspector Gregson was investigating one of those black markets? It's been suggested that high-ranking government officials may be involved in black market activity. No doubt Gregson was trying to avoid details of investigations being leaked to the involved parties. That would explain why he was operating on his own authority without the Yard's knowledge. And do we know where the dealings were taking place this time? In a particular room of a certain exclusive London gentleman's club. Gentleman's club. And on the day in question, the accused is known to have been there. That's the conclusion of Scotland Yard's investigation into the matter. Does gentleman's club have a different meaning in Britain than in the US? Because when we say gentleman's club, we mean strip club. Just people don't market themselves as strip club. They market themselves as just gentlemen's clubs. Because when I think of gentlemen's clubs, like just the word, I think of people with monocles sipping their tea and talking about rich people things. But I know that in the US, it's about nude, sweaty women that are paid in singles. Okay. Yep. That makes sense. A little something about that. That can't be. We haven't heard anything about any of this. Yes. Did they call it a gentleman's club there, or were they just like... I don't remember. Maybe they did, and I just didn't remember that. Members of the club have testified to it. There's no question the accused Barrick von Zeeks was present. So, no naked ladies. Or, yes, all that stuff, but also naked ladies. Because I suppose both could happen, right? I'll be right back. I'm not running over my dog. Refill my agua. I actually don't know what Van Zeek's reaction would be. I can think of a couple other ones. Yeah, my initial reaction is Van Zeeks would just sit there and with his arms crossed and just ... Lord Strongheart would be like, pocket watch. You have exactly 3 minutes and 47 seconds to get me aroused. Sholmes would be like, my dear madam, is it possible that you had Mexican for lunch? Some sort of weird deduction that he would make as he would just be trying to make tons of deductions while they were dancing in front of him. Who else we got? Gregson? I mean, Gregson would just be eating the entire time, right? Well, because he could keep the same look, right? He's definitely into it, but he has the same look to him. Wanna be my fish and chips tonight? Drebber? Well, Trevor's got that, like, mechanicalness to him, right? Maybe his head spins around. Steam starts coming out of his ears or some shit. Yeah, Rinosuke would not be able to handle it. Cosmo would be sitting there with his headband, like, still, like, floating, like, you dance with the spirit of a warrior. Father, I don't think you'll be going to the strip club tonight. But dear, Hiya! Face is so familiar. Your tits are also that of a warrior. You have a very fine warrior's build, in fact. I don't know, Jigoku's a Giga Chad, so he can go, like, anywhere with it. He might be super respectful or, like... Webbin with their clothes off. Ugh. All women should have fully dressed should be fully dressed in kimonos at all times. Especially during times of sexual arousal. Dude only engages in sexual intercourse for the purpose of procreation. Well, the Santa judge is easy. He'd be like, "Good Lord," and his wig would go on its side like it always does. And if somebody comes out and is an absolute banger, he pulls out his organ like, I got the music. I don't know what you guys think, but I honestly look back on that and think that's where I peaked as a streamer. The Von Karma perfect sex bit. I'm not sure I'll ever be able to top that. Well, what? Natsume in Japan is different though, right? Because Natsume in Japan's a lot different from Natsume in Britain. In Japan, he'd be like, "Don't you know who I am? How dare you think you can touch me, the great Natsume?" That would be very significant testimony then.
Oh my, but... Lord Van Zeeks has made no mention of this at all.
In short, Lord Van Zeeks had ample opportunity to murder the victim. Lord Van Zeeks, please. Sorry, Lord Strongheart, please. That would be an interesting YouTube video. How all Ace Attorney characters would react in a strip club. Skullduggery. Very well then, counsel for the defense, begin your cross-examination. Yes, somebody get on that.
Hold it!
So you follow orders, do you, Gina? That's an embarrassing question to ask. So, you do your job, eh, Gina? I guess it wasn't a worthless question. No, not me. I'm above all that, see? Oh. Well, your credibility's shot.
The boss always had special orders for me. Grab us some fish and chips, or go and give Toby his grub. That kind of thing.
Oh, but you listened to his orders. Well, which one is it, Gina? So, errands more than orders, then. This detective is still an apprentice, after all.
Yeah, well, this apprentice ain't one to sit around and wait to be told what to do, even by the boss. That's why I've been doing my own investigations into what happened. I didn't find much at first.
Are you serious?
Hold it!
This was seriously her investigation? Scotland Yard was okay with that? Who is in charge over there? Yeah, I still haven't found anything. Didn't find anything at first. Still haven't. Oh, well, thank you. Bye. Tobias wasn't in charge. He wasn't their chief inspector. Toby the dog. Yes, Toby the dog, I guess, is the one. He was leading them around, that's for sure. Ruff, Ruff, get my food. Ruff, Ruff, clean up my fucking shit. Ruh, ruh, this area is mine. This area is mine. Toby's name is derived from Tobias, yes. So you went through Inspector Gregson's things?
Yep, as part of the independent Lestrade investigation.
I'm sure your superiors would be delighted that you're taking the initiative. Are your superiors even aware that you're here?
So I snuck into his office when no one else is about? Because if anyone at the yard had seen me going in there, they'd have turfed me straight out on the street.
You're saying they won't do that now for some reason? Well, then in theory, those names are still connected. There's no way they came up with Tobias Gregson and then used the name Toby independently. Because, yes, Devin's right. Then they would have named the dog after Tobias, or they would have derived Tobias's name from Toby. So either way, it's not, there's no connection between the two. It is most definitely a reference. Otherwise, that would be really weird. This is sounding less and less like an investigation and more like something else. The prosecution understands that it was this very detective who discovered the notebook.
You got that right. Nothing gets past Inspector Lestrade and her trusty assistant chief, Inspector Toby. We found it in one of his desk drawers that had a false bottom.
That's impressive.
Then I went to hide myself where no one can find me, so I could have a butcher's is what was written in it. Because if anyone at the yard had found me out, they'd have turfed me straight out on the street. I've given it in now, though, ain't I? And if it weren't for me, it would never have been found.
I love how they gave her like very subtle, the very subtle cat expression there.
Hold it!
Do you have any idea where those dealings were taking place? What? I know. It is a person.
Yup! It was all there in the boss's notes. Let's see if I can remember.
As I already said, the illegal dealings were due to take place at a gentleman's club.
Hey! Prosecutor! Shut your goddamn mouth! You're not the one giving testimony under oath. I want her to say it.
Yes, I remember, but I was hoping to find out the name of the club. That won't be necessary.
Excuse you? You're not the one to make that determination.
It's conceivable that the club might be used again by the smugglers in future.
It's a closed hearing!
I don't know, Van Zeeks was bad. But I haven't seen enough of Cosmo yet. They're suspecting an official of what? The judiciary? Then if they're really doing that, nobody else should be there. It should be a true closed hearing. If they're that paranoid about it. Because this is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit. Regardless of what their stupid excuse is. Therefore, the prosecution has been asked not to reveal the name in these proceedings. I don't know what all this fuss is about. It's right here. All I've got to do is read it out. And I could too. I've got this reading game buttoned up now. Can I show you what I can do? Go on. What's the arm? The judge hasn't signaled his objection yet. I could try to find out. What should I do? Insist, motherfucker! Let the judge be the one to say no. It isn't up to Cosma. This is a closed court. The proceedings are confidential. There shouldn't be any possibility of the information being leaked. As I explained, there is some possibility of politicians being involved in this affair. The prosecution is rightfully exercising caution, I imagine. That's fine. You make the decision, whether it be good or bad. It's not up to him. No, my lord, the prosecution has no objection. Get fucked. Cosma? Then what was the point of being an asshole about it earlier? There's no question that Inspector Gregson was looking into these black market dealings. However, it's not yet been established that he was on that particular trail on the day in question. If the defense requires to know the club's name, then the prosecution has no intention of being obstructive. Oh my god. Then why did you even bother? I've told you already. I know, I just thought I'd like to know the name. That won't be necessary. But I think it is. Okay, why not? That's literally what just fucking happened. Right then, I get to show off my reading skills. Apparently the smuggled goods deal was gonna happen at a gentleman's club called The Gross. Is it Gross or Gross? Grouse? The Grouse. Neither three of those names sound like a good name for a gentleman's club. No, I've never heard of a grouse before. Nor have I heard it as another way of saying to complain. Let me ask the thing, none of those words are attractive. Gross, groose, grouse. They're all ugly, ugly words. So I'm assuming that's why they're not used very often. Unless it would refer to an actual thing, which in the US it does not. At least not where I live. Apparently smuggled goods, yeah, the grouse.
Hold
the
it.
Grouse. The grouse? What kind of club is that? I got the foggiest. Clubs ain't exactly my thing. Well, I'm kind of curious. They're not places where a foreign student like you would be readily admitted. Or like you, motherfucker? Have you looked in the mirror recently? I tell you what, me and Chief Inspector Toby could go in undercover. Could you, though? I could pick out a few good marks and see what else I could find out while I was in there. I really don't think you should go picking out anything. Anyway, that's where these black market dealings were going to take place, is it? Yeah, it's gotta be. That's what the lower ranking detectives at the yard reckon. It says the even lower ranking detectives.
Hold it!
So how had Inspector Gregson come to find out about it in that case? That's the question, ain't it? But I'm just an apprentice, so... And why didn't he inform Scotland Yard of his findings? Yeah, that's what I was asking myself. Cause, you know, I'm just an apprentice. When it suits you, yes. Anyway, point is, something went down on that club. No question. Can't say that for certain, though, surely. She just didn't answer his question.
Hold it!
Lord Van Zeeks was at the club? He was. Detectives who visited the club yesterday to make inquiries have confirmed it. Several members reported having seen the accused being admitted to the room in question as a guest. It's like there's no disputing that he was there then. Well, we know that Lord Van Zeeks was investigating Inspector Gregson, don't we? Perhaps he'd already discovered the inspector's secret notebook. Which led him to the club, you mean? Maybe. Presumably, then, there are also eyewitnesses who can testify that Gregson was there? None have been identified at this time, no. So the all-important victim wasn't seen at this mysterious club. Oi! Why aren't you asking Inspector Lestrade, eh? So that's all I've got to work with. Nina's not holding back with that ice-cold stare of hers, is she? I really don't know what to make of all this. Lord Van Zeeks told us that he was investigating Inspector Gregson, but he never once mentioned that he met the inspector the day before the incident. You don't think Lord Van Zeeks could have been lying to us, do you? It's not the only way to explain this. Oh, if everything Lord Van Zeeks has told us is true, then there must be a mistake in this testimony somewhere. You mean there are details we've yet to uncover? Exactly. A clue, perhaps, that even Gina hasn't noticed. That's what we should be looking for here. I haven't looked at this yet. Look, there's something inside. Oh, let's see. Appears to be a passport authorizing him to travel overseas. Inspector Gregson about to go on the trip abroad then? Perhaps the date of departure might tell us something. That was... Oh! What is it? This is for travel on 31st October, just one day before the incident. What, really? Gregson went to France the day before his body was discovered? And got back in time? Jesus. Well, he wasn't there because he was in France, but she's not actually saying that he was there. She's just saying the smuggled thing was going down then. So this doesn't actually contradict what she's saying.
Objection!
Yeah, okay. Maybe I'm ahead of myself. This doesn't...
Objection!
No, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Slash. Blood. In here that we false top, perhaps? No. Doesn't look like there's anything in here we haven't seen. Wait. Fragment of metal. Okay, that's good to know. Coppers weren't onto it yet.
Objection! Hold it! Hold it!
What am I missing? Go back to the sequence. Let's see. Burns up. Searching the office. Notebook. It happened at the Gross. Big job. Police weren't in on it. The Reaper was there. Is this where? No, that doesn't seem to make
Hold it!
sense. like to suggest that they did know about it. Can't use this because oh, who's that? Well, you know what they say. One in the air is two on the ground. Check the notice board. Wouldn't have anything. No. 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 This is all. That's all the day after. This wouldn't suggest anything. Day of. Day of. Day of. Day of. That was to figure out that it was vigil. Let's see what else. 10 years ago, vigil again. Ticket. I don't know if that has anything to do with the passport. That just has the advertisement, not anything that would suggest the police know. I don't think we need this yet. It's not the passport. I don't think it's the trunk yet. The autopsy report wouldn't have anything to do with it, nor the papers, or that photo. This involved the time. I don't know why this would... Something with it being loud? No. All we know is that it stopped at 5 p.m. I don't really know anything else. Identification. I was thinking it might have something to do with this, but I don't know where it would. The only thing that I don't really know about is ticket. I don't. Always look at all of your evidence. Always look at all your evidence. And ironically enough, that is significantly easier to achieve in a file than it is digitally in this file. It may seem like this would be easier. No. Yokohama departure, 11th September. Arrival, 1st November. Fuck you, CJ. Oh Lord. All right, CJ, I'll give you the choice here. Worm, Airhead, or Sour. I think those are Sour Patch. Or no, Sweet Tart. It's sour. They're Sweet Tarts. Yeah. Oh Lord, we're close again. I didn't realize how close we were. Airhead? Airhead bite. You know what does not taste good? Orange. Do you know what tastes even worse? Orange after you drink coffee. Those are not compatible tastes to have in one's mouth. Hey, I'm appreciative. Don't get me wrong. Oh, that didn't help. Oh! How did that make it worse? Ooh. Why? Okay, apparently coffee, cherry vanilla Coke, and orange Airheads do not mix. The water is bad too, but it's not as bad. Because it kind of has like that, you ate a bunch of candy and then you drink the water. But that happens regardless of what the flavor of the candy is. It just doesn't taste very good. So, I will be fair here to orange and say that that's not necessarily an orange thing. That's just a candy thing in general. And I disagree. I think the coffee and orange is even worse. Our last stream? Well, I guess we better get this over with before I die, huh? Ah, that's the boat that Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku came on from Japan, isn't it? Yes, I think it called at Dunkirk on the north coast of France for a night before finally arriving in Dover. It's been almost a year since we arrived in Dover in the SS period. It's a shame you cannot keep your tickets mentally. Oh, we've read this before. I just didn't remember the name being mentioned. This isn't okay. So it's for those that have. This was actually a reveal a while ago, so it's not a plot twist. This is just something that perhaps has been lost over time with the turnover of viewers. There are actually 3 Twains. Left Twain, right Twain, middle Twain. Even if one Twain dies, the other 2 shall remain. The problem is usually you get center Twain. The one who is in full control. if you go with left or right, very different. Left Twain's an asshole. Gigantic asshole. Right Twain, on the other hand, is like not an asshole, but also like almost like if Twain was stoned all the time. So, I don't know which one's gonna die. Maybe center Twain. Maybe you'll have to deal with left or right from now on. Okay, so we have the ticket.
Objection!
I've read about these clubs that exist here in Britain. As I understand it, they're places where well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues. Don't imagine for a second that a foreign student like you would be admitted. Seriously! This is stupid dialogue. There's no reason for him to be saying this. It makes no goddamn sense. Seriously, is your mirror cracked or something? Do we know for sure that the contraband dealings were definitely happening at a club called the Grouse? The police are currently looking for evidence, but haven't found anything definitive yet. And I'm sorry to say that they probably won't. What do you mean by that? I mean that the place Inspector Gregson was secretly going to visit on 31st October may not have been a gentleman's club at all. You're showing a very irreverent attitude towards our country's police force there, Counsel. If it wasn't a gentleman's club, then what was it? A steamship. You think it's a ship? I have the evidence to prove it. Here. Let me see that. This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. Ah, the other side, my lord. Be more specific next time. Ah, this would appear to be a ticket for passage upon a steamship, yes. The SS Grouse.
Objection!
So there's a steamship named the Grouse that happens to share a name with the club. But I'm afraid to say there's a flaw in your logic there. How? Look at the ticket. Notice the date of arrival in port. Ship arrived at the port of Dover on 1st November. Ah! The day on which the sound like a gunshot was heard on Fresno Street. In other words, on the day in question here, 31st October, when the victim was on his clandestine mission. The ship hadn't yet docked on British shores. That would certainly make an undercover investigation somewhat challenging. The fact that the steamship hadn't reached Britain substantiates the defense's assertion that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the day in question. Then show your evidence for that assertion. Very well. In that case, counsel of the defense, present your evidence to the court now. Evidence that substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on 31st October. Now is it the passport?
Take that!
What's this? A passport for travel issued to the victim. Dated 31st October? What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that just one day before the inspector's body was discovered, there's a distinct possibility he wasn't even in the country. Order! Order! This document is for passage to France. It does appear to have been officially authorized. The day before the SS Grouse arrived at Dover, it docked on the northeastern coast of France for a night. According to my father, who is on board, at the port of Dunkirk. Dunkirk, France! What could possibly have taken the victim there? I'm impressed, Rinosuke Naruhodo. I certainly didn't expect you to get your hands on that passport. What? You mean you knew about this? The prosecution strategy for this trial has been laid down by the Crown Prosecution Office. On the day before the incident, the victim was investigating contraband dealings at a London club. That's the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations and the line the prosecution has been asked to follow. But personally, I don't agree. I think the prosecutor's office is trying to hide something. What? And now that you've expertly disproven their assertion, I intend to reveal what I believe that something to be. What are you playing at, Prosecutor Sogi? Courtroom is a forum for the truth, my lord. Which is why it's my duty to present all the facts without exception. Let me guess, this was your intention from the outset, wasn't it? Why don't you just go ahead and fire him in the middle of the trial? You fucking took over the case in the middle of the trial, why can't you say, get out? The reason Inspector Gregson secretly made his way to the steamship docked in France on the day in question was to carry out a mission for the Reaper. The Reaper? Order! Order! What on earth are you saying, Counsel? The prosecution made an assertion in court yesterday. But in reality, the truth is the opposite of that assertion. What? Inspector Gregson wasn't investigating the Reaper at all. He was, in fact, acting for the Reaper. So, you're saying the mission he was undertaking was, obviously, an assassination. Eric von Zieks never carried out any of the actual killings. Whenever the Reaper's victims lost their lives, he always had a cast iron alibi, which tells us that he must have had an accomplice. That only assumes that he was the one that actually was involved in the murders, because if he's not involved, then he must not have had anything. And you claim that was Inspector Gregson? What the hell do you think you're saying, eh? My boss would never have done nothing like that. And yet, when you consider all the facts, it all makes perfect sense. No, it can't be. We also arrived at the same conclusion, didn't we? And Inspector Gregson was operating as the Reaper. Even so, there's no way that the person giving him his orders was Lord Van Zieks. No, the true Reaper is somebody else. Eric Von Zieks is not the Reaper. A predictable response from someone who's advocating for the man? Yeah, no fucking shit. It's so obvious that it wasn't even worth the air coming out of your lips. And even if it's true that Gregson was operating as an agent of the Reaper, the suggestion that he went aboard the SS Grouse on an assassination mission doesn't follow at all. Oh, you have some solid reason for doubting the assertion, do you, Counsel? Absolutely. It's very simple. On the day in question, nobody was killed aboard the steamship. Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku were on that very ship. If someone had been assassinated, I'm certain we would have heard about it. What's so funny? You're right, of course. No suspicious deaths were reported on board the ship. But I think perhaps you've missed the point. That's precisely why Inspector Gregson himself lost his life. What? Okay, now we're objection, speculation. Holy shit, you gotta substantiate yourself before saying some shit like that. Gregson did board the SS Grouse that night with the intention of dispatching his mark. But his mission ended in failure. Failure? It seems that the defense hasn't yet grasped a very important detail here. What are you talking about? What detail? Inspector Gino Lestrade. Huh? What? The victim's notebook that you read an excerpt from earlier. It doesn't contain details of secret investigations at all. It describes 10 years of assassination plots to be carried out by the Reaper of the Bailey. Objection! Speculation!
You're lying! Even if all them bludgers what got taken out had it coming. Boss weren't the Reaper.
Oh, Gina. There's no question that Tobias Gregson was heavily involved in the Reaper's activities. He may just be an apprentice, but if you spent any time at Scotland Yard, you must have heard rumors.
I heard nothing. I don't believe a word of it.
Then testify again as a representative of Scotland Yard. Consider it your chance to defend your boss.
I don't.
I concur. The witness will give a new formal testimony. Miss Lestrade, you will tell the court everything you know about Inspector Gregson's secret notebook. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty dog shit argument on Cosmo. Like, he would never have been able to get away with that. Ryunosuke does that too, but he immediately follows up with, it's because of this. Kazuma's just throwing around wild accusations without any reasoning to back it up. It's just conclusory statements.
Yeah, this notebook does have a load of stuff about what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years. Names of victims, dates, and places and stuff. And the last entry in there was 31st October. It said grouse for the place on that date, and then the name of the mark. There was a note about him being a criminal what got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or something. Well, honest, the boss didn't do none of it. He was just investigating the Reaper, that's all.
You killed him? You killed him. How? Because you killed him. You fucking got me. Oh my god. You must be right. Keep personal opinion out of your testimony, witness. We require only established fact here. Holy shit! That's the first time in all the games that I played that a judge actually called out a witness for interjecting their opinion in testimony that they should not be doing. Because that's happened several times, including in these two games, when it's like, well, maybe something, and it's like, it doesn't. Your speculation is irrelevant. We didn't ask for your speculation. You're just saying that. There's no basis for it. We just want the established facts from you. Now, we'll see, though. We'll see if it's really essential. It's just one good thing so far. We'll see how the rest of this plays out. This must be so hard for her. You can't deny it now, surely, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What can I deny? That I'm a fucking writer. You don't want to fuck with me. The notebook contained the name of the final mark and the location where the assassination would take place. All we have to stipulate to is that it had the name of someone. We don't have to stipulate it being an assassination mark. That's information that the victim could only have known if he was working with the Reaper. Why? Why? If it's a victim that got away, in theory, that's public knowledge and anybody could have figured that out. But of course, Ryunosuke's just like, "Uah!" So, who was to be this final mark? Go ahead, Inspector Lestrade. Read the name for the court. The name that's written alongside the entry that mentions the grouse on 31st October.
I'll just read this then.
It It's a Japanese name. Still not her strong suit. Ain't the problem, alright, Otto? It's a funny name. It ain't English. It's odd to read. So it's someone from overseas? Let me have a bash at it. Seishiro. Is it? Yeah, Seishiro. Okay, you? Jigoku, you, maybe? What? It can't be. Seishiro Jigoku? But that's Judge Jigoku. Seishiro Jigoku. Certainly not an English name, you're right. It is an English name! What do you mean objection? But that can't be right. I know Judge Jigoku, and I saw him the day before yesterday here in London. So I know for a fact that the man hasn't been assassinated. As I said, the Reaper failed. Objection? Speculation! Gregson missed his chance to kill his mark and return to British shores. Objection? Speculation. But the Reaper wouldn't tolerate the mistake. Objection? Speculation. So he killed the inspector. Personally. Objection? Speculation. The Reaper, of course, being the accused. Barrick von Zeeks. Objection, speculation. It's an undeniably logical argument. I know he's just saying...
Jesus fucking, are you kidding me?
He's just stating that it's a logical argument, but like, to even be entertaining this without any evidence to back it up?
Congratulations!
Right, he's not providing any proof. Good job, CJ. It's an undeniably logical argument. Cosmo, you planned for the trial to go this way all along.
Hold it!
Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice whilst I stand accused of murder. Oh Lord, that is humorous. That is humorous, isn't it, Lucy? It is quite humorous. Lord Van Zeeks! The accused has no right to speak uninvited in court. You will return to the dock. I am in the dock. Well, actually, no, he's in the witness stand. Never mind. I say nothing of whether or not I'm the Reaper. That's the task of this court to decide. Hoped he did what? Used his leg on the witness stand? But there is one thing I can say unequivocally. That girl is no detective. What? No, that's right, I ain't. I'm an inspector. Repeating rumors heard around the yard, reading entries from a notebook of unconfirmed origin. That's not testimony, it's practically a script. No doubt the rest of this trial will go exactly as you've clearly planned. Your hatred of me is understandable. In your mind, I'm sure I'm the Reaper, who sent your father to the gallows all those years ago. But you're in danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself. by attempting to have me condemned with this feeble excuse for testimony. What did you say? He's right. Ironic, considering how much feeble testimony Van Zieks has tried to get before.
Mr. Naruhodo, this is our chance.
I guess it takes a bad prosecutor to know a bad prosecutor, right? My lord, the defense requests that the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to the important information relating to the testimony just given by the witness. Very well. I'll make an exception and grant the request. The defendant may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination. Then allow me to toast the court's impartiality. Don't raise your glass in my direction, sir. Counsel for the defense, begin the cross-examination immediately. Damn, that was cold. At once, my lord.
Hold it!
In other words, it shows that Gregson was basically acting as the Reaper. No! That's a... Apparently, Strongheart, like, gavel thing has the ability to inflict stupid upon the entire courtroom. He whacked everyone. The only person he missed is Van Zieks. Either that or it was simply not very effective. Not you and all! That ain't the only explanation, is it? No, it's not. Good job, Gina.
He could have been investigating the Reaper in secret, and that notebook said what he found out.
What missed Gina? Because Gina wasn't in the courtroom yet. If I may, when originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. I believed the power to intimidate London's criminal classes into compliance with the law to be beneficial. But you carried out your own investigations into the identity of the Reaper, didn't you? Yes, and those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper. What are you on about? The Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd criminals at the top of their game. There's simply no way one person could have taken them on alone. The Reaper is an organization. With you at its head? Objection, speculation. I suppose he asked the question, so... But, like... Would there be proper foundation to ask that question? Maybe. Maybe. I could see a judge allowing that question. I want to get some, like, not plug-in, but something where I could, like, easily create a counter. That I can, like, press a button and it happens. Would a Steam Deck allow for something like that? Okay, that one's not speculation. That was... I'm wrong about that one. I had spies at the yard keeping me abreast of Gregson's movements, letting me know when he was elsewhere. So I've been able to check the most recent entry in his book. I knew the location. You knew it said grouse? Believing it to be a reference to the Gentleman's Club, I went there on the day in question to investigate, alone.
Ah, so that explains why several members of the club claim to have seen you there.
But of course, the inspector was not there. Because at the time he was making his way to the steamship docked at the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Very well then, back to your testimony about the contents of this notebook.
Fine.
something wrong, Miss Naruhodo? You seemed a little shocked by something a moment ago. Oh no, it's alright. Overthinking this, aren't I?
Hold it!
Names of victims, dates, places, and stuff? What in particular? Well, besides the victims' names, this other name kept cropping up. What other name was that? It's the one I told you yesterday. The same name, written over and over again. You mean... Asashin? Yeah, that's the one. She's a friend of yours or something, isn't she? Were you even listening yesterday? Asashin. The assassin! What? Like, a killer, you mean? Gregson was the tactician, the one who came up with the plan of attack. He investigated the marks thoroughly, finding out when they would be vulnerable and who to use to get at them. But the person actually executing his plan was someone else, you're saying? If that's true, then the Reaper does indeed start to sound like an organized group of vigilantes. Ah, then perhaps what it said on the passport document. Permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel. Could that additional person have been clearly the assassin who was meant to take Seishiro Jugoku's life? Gina, can you confirm that against the final entry that listed Grouse and Seishiro Jugoku? What name was written? Oh, well, that's the only entry that didn't have a name next to it as it happens. What? It just add like a question mark or something out there, I think. In other words, Gregson himself didn't know the identity of the assassin in that case. Wow, we are taking some... We are running with something that has not at all been substantiated yet. But Gregson was the one making the plans, was he not? Oh, how infuriating. Nameless assassin? Sounds like the best assassin to me. The only other best assassin would be somebody named Asashin, because that clearly isn't a real name, right? Just a synonym.
Hold it!
And you're saying that the mark listed was Seishiro Jugoku? That's what it said! Funny name if you ask me. And I thought your name was odd. Though pleased to have lost my crown there. Mr. Jigoku is the presiding judge of Japan's Supreme Court of Judicature. I remember the man. He came to our country as a visiting student 16 years ago. Studying international law and diplomacy under your tutelage, Lord Strongheart. That bearded young fellow was a very able man, I must say. Lord Strongheart was Judge Jigoku's mentor. If I'm not mistaken, he returned to Japan 10 years ago now. 10 years ago, after that fateful case. Precisely. In the aftermath of the Professor case, his repatriation? I honestly don't know what that word is. I get it based on context, but repatriation was organized immediately. It's a mystery why such a man would be listed in the inspector's notebook. I didn't think it was possible, but the mood has got even worse now. Maybe I'll just keep talking.
Hold it!
Same root as patriot. Repatriation. Wait, do we still have... Oh. Stop that. Ah, we do. Okay. What do you mean a criminal? Judge Jigoku's no criminal. Oh, don't ask me, I don't know nothing about it. Oh, do you remember what Father told us? That Judge Jigoku did once appear in court here in Britain. It was related to the Professor case, I'm sure. Yes, of course, you're right. It was a pitiful situation, yes. I'd forgotten all about it. But I prosecuted that trial too, as it happens. You did? It was considered to be an adjunct. It was considered to be an adjunct to the professor proceedings, you see. But he was acquitted after being told to make reparation for the damage caused to the stand. And there you have it! Have what? Surely the accused hasn't forgotten his own rule? That there's no saving anyone who faces the Reaper in court, guilty or innocent alike. This is not some aha gotcha moment that you think it is, Kazuma. What? No! Are you suggesting that the reason Judge Jigoku was targeted for assassination? The man was sent back to Japan immediately after that trial. The Reaper had no time to do his work. But then, 10 years later, the mark returns to Britain once more. Perhaps now you start to see just how invictive the Reaper is. I feel like he has weakened his case here. Come on, that's absurd! To take someone's life for that? Isn't the whole premise of the Reaper absurd, killing those who have been found innocent? Clearly the rules by which the man operates are beyond a sane person's comprehension. That seems like really specious reasoning. But why? I've just had about enough of this. Gina? All this nonsense about the boss planning to kill people. It's cobblers. Peach cobblers. Come on, Odo. Yes? Why aren't you saying nothing? Except for stupid things. Why aren't you yelling out objection or something? What? You've got to find a flaw. You do usually. Someone's lying here, no question. You gotta work out who it is. Please, for the boss. That outburst was an insult to the court and to your own testimony. I might have known that a common pickpocket from the back slums couldn't make a detective. Well, she's not a detective, haven't we made that clear? This trial is over, you will forfeit your warrant card, Miss Lestrade. Is that clear? I had it with a lot of you. It lies every bleeding place you look in the world, innit? But I've had enough. Gina. So have I. After that little speech of Gina's, I've made up my mind. To do what, Mr. Naruto? There was one point in this cross-examination when something that was said just didn't sit right with me. One statement that seemed odd. Oh, do you mean? I'm not going to let Gina's plea for help fall on deaf ears. Wasn't it something from the...
Hold it!
Look, this one? As shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Huh. trunk had the passport.
Hold it!
I want to thank you, Gina. You helped me find my resolve. Ah! What do you mean? Amongst everything we've heard during this cross-examination, there's one thing that defies explanation. One inconsistency. What? An inconsistency? Really, Odo? I don't quite know what it means yet, but yes, there's an inconsistency in something that was said by the Cosmo?
Take that!
By you, Jakubowsky. Me? Is this some attempt at filibustering counsel? That's funny. Prosecutor Sogi has given no testimony. Maybe that's exactly why he should keep his fucking mouth shut, other than objections, while I'm cross-examining the witness. Then this wouldn't seem so fucking confusing to you. What are you suggesting I said that was inconsistent? You let something slip that you shouldn't have. When I present the relevant piece of evidence, I imagine you'll realize what you've done. Very well then, counsel, go ahead. What evidence reveals this alleged inconsistency in something Prosecutor Asogi said? He said... as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Like he shouldn't have known what the trunk was?
Take that!
You shouldn't have known the passport was in the trunk? This is a trunk that belonged to Inspector Gregson. A metal construction, is it? Certainly very heavy. What's this? A blood stain, and a relatively fresh one, too. What? You mean that ain't grease from all the boss's fish and chips? Fresh blood on the inspector's trunk. That suggests that the victim was traveling with that luggage when he was killed. That can't be! There was no mention of any trunk in Scotland Yard's report. Yes, there's a reason for that. Immediately after the inspector's body was discovered, one of the street peddlers made off with the trunk, hoping to sell it. But I found it, me! With me nose for trouble. Which means that nobody should have known anything about the trunk. Unless, of course, we're talking about somebody who was present when the victim was killed. And yet, during the cross-examination of the witness just now, you said this, Cosma. Blood from his flesh and chunks. Oh, God. I got me flesh and chunks right here. Cannibal Gregson. So the question is, how'd you know about the inspector's trunk? We know the man went on a trip to France. Where else would he have put his passport?
Objection!
But you knew it was a metal trunk. Answer me honestly, Cosma. Okay, sure. Because you asked nicely and asked me to answer honestly, I'll tell you the exact truth. On 31st October, where exactly were you? At the port of Dunkirk on board the SS Grouse. Is that the answer you're looking for, Rinosuke? Cosmo, what did you... Hadn't considered the possibility before, but if Cosmo was there on the ship then, it would only have been for one purpose. Oh no, Mr. Naruhodo, surely you don't think... Ha 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 ha! Come on, Rinosuke, you know the rules. The only thing that really talks in the courtroom is hard evidence. I cannot believe he had the fucking nads to say that. As I understand it, Inspector Gregson always took that case with him when he traveled. So as it stands, you've proved nothing. Cosmo. Are you challenging me to prove it beyond all reasonable doubt? That you were there that day? In the same place as the inspector? He was there? With Gregson? There's a clue that you've overlooked, a secret that trunk can tell us. Can't be sure at this point, I'll need to verify it. Show us your swords! I have a nasty feeling that I'm going to be right. The accusation being made is deeply disturbing, but nevertheless, we must test it. The defense will identify for the court where in the trunk this alleged clue is to be found. Where's the evidence that ties Prosecutor Asogi to Inspector Gregson?
Got it!
Do I have to open the trunk? I tried to open it before and it wouldn't let me. I thought I had to open it first. Oh, what? Why is it so off? Like it's suddenly off-centered.
Got it!
There's a small piece of metal lodged in the wall of the trunk here, like the tip of a blade. A blade? Kazuma, slung around your waist as ever today, is the esteemed blade Karuma. Of course it is. Won't you draw it here in this courtroom? For all to see. Exercise caution, my learned friend. That man is the son of London's most notorious killer. Bailiff! Watch Prosecutor Asogi like a hawk. That won't be necessary. Judge is in the gallery right now. Just fucking waiting for it. His organ was fucking cleaned up, ready for his chance today. Oh no! The tip is broken. His organ was clean. Not his organs. I mean, I don't know, maybe his organs were clean. If the fragment of metal from the trunk fits together with the end of the sword, the question of who was there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. Agreed, Kazuma Asogi? Expertly done, Rinosuke. That's a point to you, and well-deserved. Do you mean to tell the court, Prosecutor Asogi? Yes, on 31st October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. So the additional person authorized to travel was me. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark. You mean you're the killer whose name was omitted from this notebook? We're following the Reaper's orders to dispatch Judge Jigoku? Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I've killed no one. Explain! I accepted the assassination mission, yes, and I accompanied Gregson to Dunkirk, but I never had any intention of carrying out the plan. You were never going to do it? You can believe Kazuma-sama, I'm sure. You know what, Susato-san, you've been, great for this whole series. I'm not buying your bias right now. Why don't you? After all, Judge Jigoku arrived safely in London the following day. Ah, circumstantial evidence. He arrived. That means he must not have had any intention to kill him. Otherwise, he'd be dead. That's not how that works. On the 31st, I boarded a train from London with Inspector Gregson. We traveled to Dover, from where we crossed the channel to Dunkirk. Then we boarded the SS Grouse and made for the cabin deck, as indicated in the plan. You went to Judge Jigoku's cabin? Exactly. He wasn't there, though. We decided to wait, but you've already told us you had no intention of going through with it anyway. I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life, so I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town, and returned to England the following morning. A boarding house? In Dunkirk? My signature will be in the register book. It would be simple enough to verify. Then what became of Jigoku? Gregson was no assassin, so the mark was spared. I'm sure it's easy enough to imagine. What happened after that? Gregson returned to England as well, having failed to complete the mission. He met with the Reaper in that room on Fresno Street to report the failure, causing the infuriated mastermind to pull the trigger. Okay, this line of thought seems to be overlooking one very important thing. Jigoku's still there. He also is going to be leaving at some point. You would still have the opportunity to kill him. It's not like you just had your one shot and that was it. It never could happen again. And end his wretched agent's life. That's the real truth behind Inspector Gregson's murder.
Objection!
Speculation. But if you did nothing as you claimed, how did the tip of your sword come to be lodged in the inspector's trunk? I don't need to answer that. The victim was killed by a gunshot. A small fragment of a Japanese blade isn't relevant to the case. Ah, be fucking goddamned it's not! And accordingly, I choose to exercise my right to silence on that matter. Like, at that point, he can't be the prosecutor anymore. He absolutely cannot continue to be the prosecutor. Be that as it may, the court will sequester the sword as evidence. As you wish, my lord. We must take immediate action now to verify whether Seishiro Jigoku remains unharmed. I'm right up here. I plead the tips. What? Remains unharmed? I agree. That should be our first priority. It's recently come to my attention that he hasn't been seen since yesterday. How did you... When a foreign dignitary invited to Great Britain goes missing for 24 hours, it's only natural that the question of his safety should arise. You don't mean to say that you think Judge Jigoku may have been killed? The Reaper has more than one assassin at his disposal, and he has the power and influence to give orders from the inside of a prison cell. Isn't that right, Lord Van Zeeks? If I were truly the Reaper, I'd be able to tell you. Order! Order in the court! Order! We will take an emergency recess for 30 minutes. I'm sure 30 minutes is enough to find the whereabouts of somebody who's been missing for a day. Now? Guests of the symposium have been told to maintain regular contact with the organizer's office. The man can't be located within a half an hour. We will have to assume the worst. What? If we can't find this guy in all of London within 30 fucking minutes, we will have to assume he's dead. He could be snorting cocaine off a hooker's ass cheek right now. Take 1 minute to ask each person, all 30 of them. Oh, God. Oh, grow up, Trep. Dignitary snort cocaine off of hookers all the fucking time. Jesus. Oh no, not Judge Jigoku! No one would want to kill a harmless Japanese man who'd only just arrived in the country. Except, that is, for the Reaper, wanting to finish off a mark that slipped through the net 10 years ago. I would have to agree. Mr. Naruhodo, for the fence's sake... My lord? I sincerely hope we are successful. Were I unable to confirm Mr. Jigoku's healthy existence in the next 30 minutes, you will face grave difficulties. Why? That's an entirely separate case! That could have nothing to do with my defendant! This doesn't make any sense. Ah! Court is adjourned for 30 minutes. Cosmo-sama, the Reaper's assassin. Feels as though I'm in a nightmare. I can hardly believe it either. But on the other hand, Cosmo isn't in the habit of making up stories. He is in the habit of withholding information, though. I have such a terrible sense of foreboding. Something awful has happened to Judge Jigoku. And I feel as though things will only spiral further and further out of control. I felt it from the moment I stepped into the courthouse this morning. That strange sensation that we were careening towards a foregone conclusion. Well, in the worst case, we might only have 30 minutes left. Fortunately, though, I don't think there's anything we can do but wait now. We're out of options. Actually, there may be one last hand we can play. Or rather, one last ear. Of course! The little Mr. Sholmes doll that Iris gave us. Perhaps now is the time. What should I do? Pull Harley's ears or not? Are you fucking serious? Are you fucking kidding me? What? Okay, let me ask you. I want to know the answer to this. Does this actually have an impact on what happens? Because if not, why the fuck are we bothering? And if it does, that's goddamn ridiculous. So I'll say leave it, and then he'll just be like, nah, I'm gonna do it anyways. In which case, again, why is this a prompt? Why is this a prompt? Fucking whatever. Here goes then, I'm going to do it. No, fuck you. I'm the one holding it. I'm gonna do it anyways. Good luck, Mr. Naruhodo. No looking back. Heave! Ow! That scream sounded like Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes, where are you? Here, my dear fellow, here! It's the felt doll talking. Hold the ears again, Mr. Naruhodo, as hard as you can. All right, then, I'll put all my strength into it. Heave! Ow! Please, my dear fellow, you don't need to pull my ear off. Mr. Sholmes, where are you? Myself and my trusty partner are present in the first-class cabin area of the SS Grouse. The SS Grouse? She left over last night after the final pieces of cargo were loaded. We are currently docked at Dunkirk, but due to be underway again in a half an hour. You've taken a ship to France? Please, even with my athletic prowess, I would struggle to jump the Straits of Dover. After we left Baker Street last night, we hurried by cab to the station and by train to the port in order to board this vessel in time. So, you mean you've already worked it out? The same ship was where everything really took place? Mr. Naruhodo, pray, what is my name? Say my name. Sherlock Sholmes, world-famous great detective. Recited to perfection. Well done.
You're a genius, Mr. Sholmes. That's the only word for it.
Why is it getting pulled? Ow, 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 ow! Ms. Usano, gently with the genius's ear, please.
Oh my, I'm ever so sorry.
If I may, Sholmes. Ah, there you are, Mikotoba. May remember that I was in fact that it was in fact I who made the connection to the SS Grouse. At Scotland Yard yesterday, when we examined that notebook and I recalled my steamship ticket. But of course it was, my dear fellow. Not once did I controvert that fact. I merely had our court-bound companions utter my name. Yes, you did, didn't you? Just entered a recess. The trial resumes in 30 minutes from now.
If we're unable to present any new leads, then I'm afraid to say...
Do not fret, please. It's for precisely that purpose that my partner and I have made this journey. I have no doubt that we shall have welcome news for you. We shall have welcome news for you within the half hour.
Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. That would be wonderful.
Until later.
Yes. You'll be hearing from us if you're not in touch first.
This is a great face, by the way.
It could mean so many things.
Ow! You're tugging at my ear? I'm holding back because I'm trying to let rip a huge shit? Somebody screaming in your ear? You're going on a particularly fast roller coaster? Or heading upwards into space? I shan't be hearing anything if you keep tugging my ear in that mindless fashion. Yeah, I suppose that could... That's another face... Another possibility for that face. Oh, Lord. Whatever was the idea behind making a receiver operated in that way in the first place, Mr. Sholmes? Why the deuce would I know? It's Iris's invention, not mine. Strongheart took over because it's important. That's basically it. Whilst I know how much you enjoy being the hero of the hour, Sholmes, we have but half that now before the grouse puts to sea again. If we don't conclude our investigations rapidly, we shall find ourselves in Naples before long. There are times, Mikadoma, when you make a surprising amount of sense. So, let us begin. First class cabin number 2. Yes, this is the one. I don't believe an investigation of the cabin is going to be plain sailing. The crewman standing in front of the door is an angry-looking fellow. Why are you loitering here? Who are you? Why is the Russian guy on this? My dear fellow, do you not recognize a world-famous great detective when you see one? The question really ought to be, who are you? Do you not recognize world-traveling great sailor Chichkin Stroganov when you see? Great detective, I don't think so. You see that, Mikatoma? It would appear that this man is a devoted follower of mine. A devoted follower of mine. Goodness me, is that a tattoo that says Sholmes? I must say, whilst such adoration is flattering, naturally, it does leave me a little cold. What are you talking about? Leave now. How distressing. My loyal devotee knows me only by my name and not by my appearance. And yet I already know a great deal about you, sir. You have a brother, I believe. Like yourself, he's a shipman. Currently traveling the world aboard a Russian steamship. How could you know this? Elementary, my dear Mikatoma. I'm sure it was. 3 days ago, I was bound for London aboard this ship, you see. We're looking for one of my fellow passengers, a man by the name of Jigoku. There is no one with this name on board. But we know that he purchased a ticket for passage. Oh, you mean Eastern Man. He left shift 2 hours ago. Here at Dunkirk, he says something about emergency, I think. What? Are you sure? So she should realize that we're after him, has he? His cabin is the one behind you. We should like to investigate, please. No, I have orders not to let even mouse inside. Mikatoma, be a good man and draw the sailor's attention away, would you? Make up some excuse so that he leaves the area. He's saying that right in front of him. Doesn't great detective see that even sailors have ears, both left and right? Curses! The plan is ruined! You've only yourself to blame, I'm afraid, Sholmes. Forget it, cabin door is locked. Even if I am not here, you cannot get inside. Mikadoma, I'm sure you haven't forgotten my special talent, have you? Opening any lock? Within a mere 5 seconds. So if you'd be so kind as to afford me the requisite time, old friend, in your typically accommodating manner, how could I refuse such a typically unappealing request, old friend? I need to distract that burly sailor for 5 seconds, do I? Good man. So, the game is afoot. That's cool, so we get to control them. That seems like the perfect spot to end for the day. I am starving and must ingest food. So I revised the schedule for this month, so be sure to check that out. But I think we're still on for Friday this week. Friday, okay, yeah, so we'll be back with this on Friday. And then we will do our tier list stream Friday and then the next week, Tuesday, Wednesday. So if we end either on the 17th or the 22nd, it's gonna happen. It's the tier list stream is probably gonna happen the week of the 22nd. Just not sure whether it'll be the 22nd or the 23rd. It'll depend on when we end. If the prediction is this is the third to last stream. Three more at most. So yeah, it'll be on the weekend. It'll be on the week of the 22nd for sure. Just not sure if it'll be the 22nd or the 23rd. That depends on whether it's 2 or 3 streams. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Thank you to CJ for them 5 buckaroos. Thank you to Keith for them 5 buckaroos. And thank you to Trep for re-upping that membership. I appreciate y'all very much. No, I mean, that'll be fine. Other stuff I might just, like, figure out myself. I don't know. I might do some non-Ace Attorney stuff, too, so we'll see. All right, everyone, have a good one. I'll see you next Friday. Until then, stream is adjourned. Said fucking music.
It wasn't nearly as derpy as you made it sound.